We've got 3 finalists for the New York Jets general manager position, and breaking news, according to a new insider report, the Jets are making that GM decision today. We talk about it, reveal the candidates, and so much more. Let's go.
I'm gonna lose my gosh-darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're fucking wrong!
What's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. Oh, my goodness. And we'll get to that right off the top. Booyah! We'll get to that. The New York Jets have hired Aaron Glenn, and we didn't do an extra show yesterday. We did YouTube Shorts. And that's because I was gathering a lot of information, baby, on Aaron Glenn. We'll play a couple of those stories here on the show. We've got a massive membership gift we're gonna share just in a second. And I want to get to this breaking news again that just came in, which is why we were a minute or two late to the show. The New York Jets have reopened their general manager gig. It looked like it was going to go to Lance Newmark. He's the assistant GM of the Commanders. And they have reopened the search. So they've brought in 2 more finalists for the job. That is Trey Brown. Okay. Trey Brown here. Let me have his official title here. Trey Brown, a senior personnel executive with the Cincinnati Bengals, and Darren Muggy. He's the assistant general manager with the Denver Broncos. Those are the 3 finalists. Lance Newmark, assistant commanders GM. Trey Brown, Bengals senior personnel executive, and Darren Muggy, Broncos assistant GM. And here is the nugget from Jonathan Jones, CBS NFL Insider, literally right before the show. These Jets GM interviews will take place today, and there's an expectation a decision will be made by the end of the day today. So, folks, we're going to know who that next general manager is of the New York Jets that is going to pair up and link with Aaron Glenn today. So we'll get your thoughts on who should be or should not be the guy. But let's start off this show with an absolute bomb. Our number 1 Austrian Jet fan just gifted 50 bleeping memberships. Oh my God. Wow. I mean, holy crap. Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. Good Lord. I mean, what an unbelievable bomb right from the top, people. And YouTube is still loading the 50 names that we will read. YouTube is working. So let's read the 50 new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Buckle your seatbelts, people. And this is all thanks to our number 1 Austrian Jet fan. Okay. Before I start, let me get some water. I want to make sure I don't mess up here. Refreshing. And oh my God, number 1 Austrian Jet fan. Holy freaking crap. Aaron Glenn. What an Aaron Glenn bomb. Hopefully this starts a historic show because it's already pretty freaking historic with our number 1 Austrian Jet fan gifting 50 freaking Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. I mean, holy crap. All right. Here are those names. Ray Noble, CMDR Carney, Vladdy P, John, Paul Knicks fan 73 Niles, Mr. McMoney, DF, 99 Jet, Packers Game YouTube, Sweet Baby Jesus, James Fitzpatrick, Dre Correa, Dr. V-Man, Matt Coy, Dino, Harry W., Jetspack 615, Swampany G. Patel, Famous J, Frank Blau, Doug Hurst, Rowan Marshall, Jason Z, Carlos Santos, Clap City, Garrett Loescher, Georgie One, Brandon Ace, ATN NJ, J. Rod Chuito, Craig M, J. Reeves, Sonaldo 69, Jake, Armand, Daz Akusif, Justin, Eric Suarez, or Suarez, E-Rock Diamond, Marcus Clark, Blake Carson, Mark Freeling, Curtis Hardy, Nick Stinchcomb, Brian Connolly, and C. Gamara are all now members of NYRCIRAF. All were just gifted Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. Good Lord have mercy. I mean, wow. Let me update the banner real quick because that altered the perspective. That altered this perspective. There's no question about it. All right, let's make sure we do this. Oh my God. That is, wow. 215 gifted memberships so far this cycle for our number one Austrian Jet fan, who is by far in the lead. Number two is Jimmy Jets at 132. Good Lord have mercy on my soul. What a start to the show. Wow. So, people, feel free to join the Boy Green Coffee Club. I don't know how anyone would be left that does not have a membership, but you can do that in the YouTube description down below. Join the Boy Green Coffee Club here. Okay. It's $2.99. Or you could give memberships like a number one Austrian Jet fan. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the little money sign. Final option is gift channel memberships, and you guys can gift as many as you'd like. Good Lord. Number one Austrian Jet fan. Way to start off the Aaron Glenn era right, baby. Wowzer. Good night. What a freaking start. Number one Austrian Jet fan says, subscribe, baby. Let's go. Bishaw just said, well, we've got our 53-man roster now. That's true. That's true. And as E the Key says, pay it forward if you can, guys. That helps, keeps the lights on and helps support the show. So, people, if you guys can also return the favor, that would be absolutely wonderful. So, again, a massive salute to our number one Austrian Jet fan. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I didn't do a breaking news show. I know a lot of people did. Shout out to Jakey, who did a phenomenal show, and everybody else. But what I wanted to do, and Aaron Rodgers said this on a Pat McAfee show, that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, which means we should listen more than we speak. And for a guy that speaks for a living, that is very difficult to understand. But I wanted to hear what other people had to say about the Aaron Glenn hire and why it was so important. And there are 2 stories that stood out. I'm going to play one example of them. It's from Albert Breer, NFL insider from Sports Illustrated, on what the Jets were looking for during their search. It's a quick clip. Here's this.
As far as what the Jets are looking for is they want somebody who's going to embrace being a Jet, embrace being a part of that organization, embrace being in New York, even embrace some of the circus elements of it, because you got to deal with all of it if you're in that job. And some of the people that they've had there over the last 10 to 15 years, you start to hear when things go wrong, like, this place is like sucks. This place isn't like this is everything everybody said about it. Like, I don't want to deal with it. You're bringing in a guy in Aaron Glenn who is a guy who has seen it, who's been there, who understands New York, who's got the personality to manage all of it. And so I think in so many ways, like, this is exactly what the Jets wanted, a guy who could set a new culture and a guy who would embrace being in New York and a guy who would embrace being a Jet.
And he embraces being a New York Jet. There's absolutely no question about it there from Aaron Glenn. Obviously, the other big question, of course, is staff. What is the staff going to look like for Aaron Glenn? And there's been a ton of rumors going out there. Let me share a couple of gosh darn nuggets here, and we'll continue on with the show. So let's do this. Let's go to these nuggets yesterday. So this one was from Connor Hughes of SNY. Now, this news nugget I'm about to share with you has not been officially confirmed, but this is according to Connor Hughes. Steve Wilks, longtime NFL defensive coordinator and multiple-time head coach. He was the head coach of the Cardinals. He was the interim head coach of the Carolina Panthers. According to Connor Hughes, he's expected to take the DC job under Aaron Glenn. But as far as I've seen, that is not official yet anywhere outside of what Connor Hughes said, but that is the expectation. So Steve Wilks is expected to be the defensive coordinator. And obviously the most important hire is what's going to be happening at offensive coordinator. I'll answer all your GM questions, folks, coming in a second, because that's now going to be the next big story today, that the Jets are interviewing those other 2 candidates. That is, again, real quick, Trey Brown of the Cincinnati Bengals and Darren Muggy of the Denver Broncos. Both of those interviews are taking place. Those are both second interviews. They are finalists along with Lance Newmark. And by the end of the day, according to NFL CBS insider Jonathan Jones, the Jets expect to make a decision by the end of the day, which means we will now know the general manager that will pair along with Aaron bleeping Glenn. Before we get there, Connor Hughes of SNY revealed the top choice of Aaron Glenn if he had his druthers on who should be the next offensive coordinator of the New York Jets. Here was Connor Hughes yesterday on the SNY Breaking News Show talk about Aaron Glenn. Let's roll the footage.
And Connor Hughes, I'm going to go back to you because you said the most important hire for Aaron Glenn, and we all can agree on this, is the OC. Who do you think, who are some of the names you're hearing that should be the offensive coordinator and Aaron Glenn's staff?
Yeah, because as we talked about a little bit ago, Janae, I mean, Glenn's been calling people and putting a staff together already, calling guys, engaging their interest in joining. And some names that I've heard specifically on the offensive side that he has had contact with, Clint Kubiak is one of them, Scott Turner. Nick Haley is one that is certainly atop the list, and I think is the number one guy that Glenn would like to bring with him to the Jets. He's somebody who currently right now is working within the Rams organization off of the Sean McVay coaching tree, and he's a younger guy who I think would relate really well to the players. He would bring new ideas. He's the latest, like I said, branch off of the McVay tree that's probably in line to eventually get a head coaching job. The thing that makes things a little interesting, though, with Nick is that he is working right now with the Rams. The person that he is working under right now with the Rams is Mike LaFleur, who we were just talking about, who was fired by the Jets, and I don't exactly think he's going to give a ringing endorsement for what it's like to potentially work here. And again, Haley's one of those guys where because of his resume, because of where he's working right now, he's going to have a ton of opportunities. So if the Jets can actually get him away from LA, I think that would be a tremendous hire, but there is some questions on whether or not they're going to be able to do that. We'll see how much say Glenn has and how good of a negotiator he has. And then one name that I did see circling around the internet right now that I can't confirm or deny this is Josh McCown. I know that would make a lot of sense. He has a tremendous relationship with many people within this organization, specifically Christopher Johnson, currently the quarterback's coach with the Vikings. But I will say specifically with McCown, he's a little bit more green right now than a lot of people believe. I know he is a tremendous leader, but I actually think he might have been better off for the head coach CEO role than maybe as an offensive coordinator, because his role right now with the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell does all of that game planning. Kevin O'Connell calls all of those plays. Kevin O'Connell really runs every facet of that offense. Josh McCown's role this year with Minnesota was pretty much just translate what Kevin O'Connell was doing into Sam Darnold terms. Did that very well because Sam Darnold had a career year, but I don't necessarily know, this is just my personal opinion, if Josh is ready yet for an offensive coordinator job. I think it might be a little too early, but certainly he has so many great relationships with people over here in the Jets that you can't rule it out. Interviewed for the head coaching job, so if he wowed people there, maybe he is in the running as well. But Nick Haley would be the one I would especially keep an eye on.
Nick Caley, he is currently the Los Angeles Rams tight ends coach and passing game coordinator. Now, here is the interesting thing about Nick Caley, okay, as a potential OC. Apparently, he's the top guy on Aaron Glenn's list. Nick Caley and Aaron Glenn have something in common. You people may not know this. So Aaron Glenn, of course, rejected the New England Patriots who said, hey, you want to interview for our HC job? And he went, blow me. No, thanks. Nick Caley last year was offered a very lucrative deal to be the new offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, and he told them to pack it, and he stuck with the Rams. So if 1 year ago he said, Patriots, you could kiss my ass, and then the next year it's like, yeah, I'll come over to the Jets, that's going to be terrific. So he's already going to have good standing with me. He's a Sean McVay guy. Okay, let's see what that goes. Now, again, Connor Hughes mentioned the funny plot twist that we would hire an understudy of Mike LaFleur, who wasn't good enough for us a couple years ago, but his understudy would be, which is a hoobada-beebada-boobada-boppada. But anywho, that would be a terrific. So just a little nugget there that the Patriots apparently offered him a wonderful OC job for that. And well, he told them no. So that's sort of funny. So anywho, that's what the staff's looking like. Also, let me get a nugget in here on the special teams coordinator. I think Zach Rosenblatt had the nugget. His last name is Banjo, which, hey, that can't hurt. But, yeah, I believe it's Chris Banjo. I think he's a longtime special teams guy. I think that was the staff they were talking about here. One moment. Let me see. Yeah, he had it. Yes. So I was right. Okay, Chris Banjo. So these are the leading candidates Nick Caley at offensive coordinator, Steve Wilkes at defensive coordinator, even though, like I said, Connor Hughes said he's expected to take the job, and then Chris Banjo at special teams coordinator. Those are the three leading candidates. Again, nothing is officially inked. No NFL insider has confirmed those yet. So, consider all that as we're going through this process as well. So I just want to make sure that that's it. So those are the current coordinators. That's what's happening. Again, nothing is official yet, but Connor Hughes, the strongest endorsement we've received is Connor Hughes saying that Steve Wilkes is expected to take the job. So that's like Aaron Glenn was expected to take the Jets job, and it just took a few little hurdles there to make sure that we sort of found our way there. Also, Zach Rosenblatt shared that a couple of key assistants on the Jets staff they're trying to retain. And actually, it was Zach Rosenblatt who said that. And the two guys are Aaron Whitecotton, the defensive line coach, who obviously has done terrific work, and then their DB coach, Tony Oden, who I mentioned before, where, all the coaches going to be gone. There's a couple of guys I'm like, ooh, I'd love them. Ron Middleton, of course, on offense would be fun, but he was not on the list. So anyone who was cheering for Ron Middleton, he was not on Zach Rosenblatt's list of assistant coaches they're trying to keep. So I don't know if he's for sure gone. Is he coming back? We'll see what happens there, but just wanted to give you guys an update on that as well. Another story I wanted to share, and we'll open up the phone lines. We'll get all crazy here on the show. Also, I have a poll on Twitter right now. I'll share those results with you guys as they continue to pour in. Again, the Jets have 3 finalists for the GM job. Lance Newmark, Assistant Commanders GM, Trey Brown, Bengals Senior Personnel Executive, and Darren Muggy, the Broncos Assistant GM. Lance Newmark already interviewed a second time. Trey Brown and Darren are interviewing today. And then by the end of the day, the Jets are going to huddle up and say, okay, insert guys our GM. So basically, it sounds like everyone else has been eliminated, which is sort of sad. I like Thomas Dimitrioff. I told you guys the wonderful stories about Brian Gain. I thought the Jets had a very nice list of general manager candidates. So if I'm being candid, none of these 3, Lance may have made my top 5. I'll have to double check that. But I know Trey Brown and Darren Muggy did not make my top 5. So, who cares? I'm just some guy. But hopefully they pick the right guy. There's Commanders, Bengals, Broncos organizations. There's pros and cons to all these guys, but the Jets are going to pick the GM, it sounds like, from one of those 3. So just buckle your seatbelts, people. And I'll give you guys the quick lowdown real quick before I share that Aaron Glenn story on these candidates and some details about them. So Trey Brown. He's a senior personnel executive with the Bengals. He's spent 9 years in the NFL as a scout and executive. He started as a scouting assistant for the Patriots in the 2010s, then moved on to the Eagles, and then he remained with the Eagles until 2018 in various capacities, including director of college scouting. In 2019, Brown left the NFL to become the executive VP of operations for the Alliance of American Football, Birmingham Irons, before moving on to the director of the XFL gig, and then returned to the NFL with the Bengals. So he's been around a lot. So for people that like a person that hasn't just been with one organization forever, obviously Trey Brown checks that box because there's a lot of, versatility here. He's been with the Patriots. He's been with the Eagles. He's been with the Bengals most recently. And then he's had stints in these developmental football leagues as well. He's interviewed for general manager positions multiple times. He interviewed for the Bills GM job in 2017. He interviewed for the then Oakland Raiders job in 2018. He interviewed once again with the Las Vegas Raiders in 2022. And obviously he's interviewing with the Jets right now. And he's also interviewed for the Eagles GM job as well. So he's been on the fence, on the precipice for a while. Let's go to Darren Muggy. He just completed his second season as the Denver Broncos assistant GM. He had over 12 seasons in Denver. Muggy's held multiple titles, from scouting intern to a personnel and scouting assistant, college and pro personnel scout, area scout, the assistant director of college scouting, and then the director of player personnel. So he's really kind of gotten a little bit of everything. Now, this is Broncos general manager George Payton talking about Muggy, a bunch of off seasons ago. He's got all the traits you want. He's great with people and a great evaluator. Talked about the management organization detail. So he's got everything that you're looking for. He's a former San Diego State quarterback. There's some scouting back here. He was Kevin O'Connell's roommate, apparently. There's a random nugget for those that'll be looking for it. But and then obviously we know about Lance Newmark and everything that we've shown. We got a YouTube member super chat here. Every time we get one of those, we hear from my beautiful daughter, Zariah Luna. Wow. Sco, who's been a member for 2 months here on Boyd Green Coffee Club. We appreciate you. It's only $2.99 a month. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. When is Aaron Glenn press conference? I think, again, now with this news that we're going to have a general manager by the end of the day, I think they're going to be introduced together, is my guess. And today is, Thursday? Thursday? Wednesday? Thursday? Yeah, I think today's Thursday. All the days are blended together. I think today is Thursday. So by the end of business day, we find general manager. And it could happen Friday, and maybe it's too short of a turnaround. They push it to next week. So it could be a Monday thing. Personally, I kind of hope it's Monday now because I'm celebrating my daughter's 3-year-old birthday this weekend, driving out of town. I'm doing Boyd Green Daily, doing my Friday radio show, and then I'm driving out of town. So I really hope Aaron Glenn does not get introduced on Friday afternoon. My fiance will kill me. But yes, so there you go. Again, especially with the GM, if the GM decision, they were really going to drag out this GM search, maybe that's where you would have gotten a little froggy. But with the GM search, according to Jonathan Jones, NFL CBS insider, the Jets coming to that decision today. It could be a press conference on Friday. If not, I think they're going to wait it out the weekend and then set everything up for Monday. So that's certainly possible. I think they will be introduced together based on the latest details. But Sco, thank you for the member super chat here on the channel. Okay, I wanted to tell you guys this story. It's not a video. It's just written word that I kind of want to share with you guys here. And there is a lot of people, and I can see it in the comment section, there's a lot of people that are really excited about this, and they should be. This is awesome. This is super fun, and it's exciting, and everything in between. Everything in between. But there's a lot of people that aren't excited about this hire, and there's been a lot of reasons thrown out of why they aren't excited. That Aaron Glenn is a first-time coach. He's a defensive guy. If he wasn't a former Jet, no Jet fan would want him, is what people say. And I'd like to read this nugget. It's a great story. If you guys want to read more about Aaron Glenn, I highly recommend reading Benjamin Solak. He is of ESPN. I've already put in a request to have him here on the show, so we'll see. I'm sure he's going to be a very popular man, but I'd love to have him on the show. He wrote a deep, deep dive article on Aaron Glenn that went out yesterday on ESPN, talking about all kinds of interesting things about his background, Bill Parcells stories. It's really cool. But this was a nugget that stood out to me because people say, Aaron Glenn's just a defensive guy. Here's a nugget from Benjamin Solak's story yesterday. Quote, Aaron Glenn has spent every offseason since 2021 meeting with offensive coordinators to learn how they build game plans, collegiate defensive coordinators to see what schematic wrinkles he can glean from, and veteran coaches to prepare for end-of-game situations. Think about that for a second. The year is 2025. Since 2021, Aaron Glenn has spent his offseasons, when he's not coaching, meeting with offensive coordinators around the league to hear how they put together a game plan so he can reverse engineer it for defense, and also because he wanted to eventually be a head coach. Collegiate defensive coordinators to see what's the latest schematic wrinkles that he can say, I can add to my game. So he's a guy that's amorphous. He's a guy that's amoeba-like, that isn't just stuck in his ways. He's a guy that adapts. He adapts to new situations. He's always learning. He's always asking questions. And then to hear that last piece, veteran coaches to prepare for end-of-game situations because he wants to be prepared for them. Well, we've had so many Jets coaches that have blown end-of-game situations, which I love. Another nugget that was shared to NFL insider Jordan Schultz, Aaron Glenn said it is massively important for him to have an experienced offensive staff, and he had that at the top of his priority list of having a lot of guys that have done it before. Folks, I just don't understand. Now, I get it. I'm Captain Positivity. Ricky New York Live says, do you have a link to that story? Just go to ESPN. You're going to see it again. It's Benjamin Solak. It's Aaron Glenn. Actually, I'll do this. 1 second. Yeah, I'll give you a link to that story right now. I'll drop it here in the comments section. So let me do this, and let me do this. So then 1 second. I'll drop it right here on YouTube. So here you go. And there it is. Okay, so I just dropped it in there. That's the link to the ESPN story. Go ahead and check it out. And there's a lot of stuff in there. There is schematic deep dives. There's Bill Parcells stories. It gets like super specific with how Aaron Glenn had, how he had less talent on defense initially, and how opposing offenses picked on it, and how Aaron Glenn learned from it and flipped it the other way. Again, it's just really compelling stuff. So I highly recommend. That's from Benjamin Solak. So again, for all the people that are just crapping on the Aaron Glenn hire, jump on the bandwagon now before it's too late. That's all I'm saying. Jump on the bandwagon now. And I can't wait. The homecoming video from the Jets was awesome. Yeah, I think maybe we can show this. I was about to say I thought there might be a chance that it's copyrighted, but actually I don't think so. So let's give this a whirl. This is the Jets hype up video for Aaron Glenn from yesterday. So yeah, I don't think there's any copyright. Let's hope not. Anywho, and then I will play this here on the show, and then we'll take some phone calls and stuff because I'm fired up. When I saw this on the Jets website, when they officially announced him last night as the next head coach of the New York Jets, I'm going to be honest, it just fired me up, baby. And it made me ready to run through a brick wall. I don't know how anyone else could not watch this video that I'm about to play and be ready to run through a bleeping wall for this guy. Because he's just that special. He's a special man. And I'm glad that he's going to be running the front of our operation here. We got 700 people in the room as I'm about to play this hype video. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe, baby. We're trying to make a chase for 10,000 subscribers. So you subscribe, your friends and family subscribe. It's free to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 10,000. We're hovering in the 7,200 range. So we need obviously another 2,800 to get to 10,000. But that's my goal. We're live every single day here on the channel at 7:30 in the morning. Plus, we have bonus shows, including New York Jets punter Thomas Morstead. That's official. He'll be joining us on Saturday morning. We already did that interview, but no one's seen it yet. It's behind the scenes, and we'll be releasing that coming up on Saturday morning. I'll also be answering your guys' questions after that interview about all kinds of whatever is happening with the latest with the Jets. So again, guys, stay tuned for that. New York Jets punter Thomas Morstead coming up. But here's the hype video. Buckle your seatbelts.
SportsCenter breaking news.
The New York Jets are hiring their former player, Aaron Glenn, as their next head coach.
Turn the music on!
Aaron Glenn. 12th pick in this first round select Aaron Glenn, defensive back, Texas A&M.
Every time you put your feet on the ground that morning, you felt like you was winning that game. At some point, man, we got to draw a line in the sand. Say enough is enough. Compete, man, compete! Compete!
And Aaron Glenn has a little attitude about him that I think is made for being in New York. He has an attitude that I think he's going to be honest with you. He's going to hold you accountable every single second.
Winning. Time to get that feeling back. Y'all dig what I'm saying?
Oh, coach, I dig. Oh, yes. Oh, baby. I'm fired up. Come on, man. And let me just tell you, one more story, I promise, and then we'll get to the calls. A lot of people said, oh, if Aaron Glenn wasn't a Jet, Paul, would you even want him? Here's the thing that I want to say. About all this is that with Aaron Glenn being a Jet, sure, there's nostalgic vibes. You just saw those highlights. They're friggin' awesome. I mean, it's awesome. Compete. It's awesome. But beyond that, Aaron Glenn knows what this market is. So many people think they know, and then they come in, and as Peter Schrager said, they get run over by a train. Aaron Glenn knows what it is. He's been on the Jets when they've been terrible. One win terrible. He's been on the Jets in the AFC Championship game. He's been on every different level of the Jets and how you could turn it around. He helped turn it around with code tied to Parcells. He was a key player on those teams, a Pro Bowler on those teams, of turning it around, people. This is why I think Aaron Glenn is just this perfect fit, is that he knows what this market is. He's been in this market. He's been in this market in shitty times. He's been in this market in great times. Someone knowing what that is massively important. And he hasn't just been a lifelong Jet. He's gone to other places. He played in the NFL for 15 years. He earned his way up. He went from a scout, a very unique startup background for a guy who would ultimately end up being a head coach, an assistant coach here, and then getting the opportunity to be a defensive coordinator for the Lions and help turn that organization around. The Lions were a dumpster fire. This century, they've gone winless, 0-16. That was in the rearview mirror, and they were just in the NFC Championship game this past year. And then, of course, they won 15 games and have the number one seed for the first time in Detroit Lions franchise history. If you're not excited about this, I'm not sure what to tell you. Apparently, I missed some super chats, so I apologize. Let me work my way back up here. Let's see. Let me try to see the super chat. I apologize. It's not showing up in our starred section, so let me see if I can get that back up. I apologize. Before we open up the phone lines, let me see here. Okay, trying to get to your super chat. If anyone sent any super chats, and I apologize if I didn't read those. I hate missing you guys on those sorts of things. Yep, it's on the 50 memberships, huh? Okay, maybe I just didn't see the super chat. I'm going back through one more time. My apologies. I'm sure this is a great YouTube show you guys are watching right now, so I'm trying to find this, but make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe, baby. Again, Aaron Glenn is our next head coach in franchise history. I still say he's the 21st head coach because Jeff Ulbrich shouldn't count. The Jets are announcing Aaron Glenn as the 22nd head coach, but really it's the 21st. I looked at other teams in the league, and by the way, they don't count interims, but the Jets are. So I'm going to have to talk to the Jets about that. I know a few people in the building. I'm going to have to reach out and chat about that. Yeah, I'm not seeing this super chat, buddy, so I don't know what happened here. I just went through the entire YouTube chat, and there should be a bright light that pops up for the super chat, and I don't see it. So I apologize to whoever thought they sent in a super chat, but nothing popped up there. So my apologies. I do not see it in the chat. So I'm not sure if there was a glitch there potentially for you as well. And then one more time, let's throw this up. Troy asked, who are the three finalists? Here are the three finalists. 1 second, we'll throw it up on the screen here. Over here. Okay. So the three finalists are Lance Newmark. He's the assistant GM of the Washington Commanders. Trey Brown, he's a senior personnel executive for the Cincinnati Bengals. And Darren Muggy, he is just the assistant GM of the Broncos. These are the only three. According to Jonathan Jones, Lance Newmark already interviewed twice. Trey Brown and Darren Muggy are interviewing twice for their second times today. By the end of business day, the Jets are going to huddle up and then pick a guy. And it will be at one of these three. And I put this poll out literally right before the show because I said, oh, my goodness, let's react to this breaking news. And it is split all across the board. Lance Newmark has 33% of the votes. Trey Brown has 30% of the votes. Darren Muggy has 36% of the votes. So he's currently leading the pack. But we'll see what happens, I guess, ultimately with the New York Jets. All right, without further ado, let's play a quick song, and then we're going to open up the phone lines here where we can react and chat about Aaron Glenn becoming the next head coach of the New York Jets. Oh, my. Let's go.
Boy Green daily, boy Green daily, boy Green daily. Talking just football, man. Boy Green daily, boy Green daily, boy Green daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Boy Green daily, boy Green daily, boy Green daily. You're talking Jets football, man.
Hep is one of the best, baby. The phone lines are now open. That is youtube.com/boygreen25. As the pinned comment on YouTube, feel free to call into the program, baby. And again, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, we appreciate that. Anywhere you enjoy Boy Green Daily, I'm all about it, baby. But YouTube is the optimal way to be able to tune into the show. You can like the video. You can hit subscribe. You can subscribe, of course, buy memberships to the channel as well, and give memberships if you'd like as well. So let's friggin' roll. Let's move on here. Taylor Sterling, real quick. He has a comment in here. Glenn picking GM is a phantom story. This is a fake story. What? How many times are we going to buy the BS? What are you talking about, Taylor? Aaron Glenn has been hired first. He will help pick the GM. And it's not, and let me make this clear. If I somehow am painting this in a different way, I'm not saying, Aaron Glenn, what a power-hungry bastard. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. The Jets hired Aaron Glenn first. We talked about this a couple days ago, that it was possible. Brian Costello joined Jake Asman on ESPN Radio and said that because of Aaron Glenn's hotness, that and that he is suddenly available when we didn't expect him to. No one expected the Lions to lose to the Commanders. That he could be hired first to make sure you don't lose him to someone else, i.e., the Saints that were waiting. So the Jets hired him first. So I don't think he's just power hungry marching around saying this is my GM or I'm out. But of course, he should have some say. We want them on the same page. If he's like, hey, this guy I hate, yeah, let's hire that guy. That doesn't make any sense. So, of course, I'm not saying Aaron Glenn is making the final decision. Obviously, he's not Woody Johnson is, but Aaron Glenn's feedback, I think, is critically important to this GM hire. And hopefully he has a good relationship with all three of these guys. I have no idea, but that this process is fake or Aaron Glenn isn't a part of it, that's silly, Taylor Sterling. That is absolutely, this is a true story. Glenn is announced as a head coach. The Jets do not have a general manager, and there's a final three that they will be picking through. That is what is happening. So I'm not really sure what's happening there. Anywho, let's go over to the phone lines. We got the legendary Chef Kevin Gilbert here on the show. What's up, Chef?
PG, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm fired up, man. This is amazing.
Thanks again for having me on your platform, man.
Of course.
Much apprecited. Your Sean Merriman interview, that was a good one, man. Thanks for getting a NFL ex NFL player on the platform, someone who's pretty insightful. He has stuff going on off the field, which is really inspiring and good to see, man. Hats off to you and Woody for getting that together.
Of course. Thank you.
Last week or the week before, I remember being on your show and kind of talking about who I was in favor of. I was happy with Glenn. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed. I'm not going to say under my same breath, I'm not going to say like I'm ecstatic, like running around jumping for joy. I do feel like John Gruden, like I really wanted him to come in, but it's almost feels like that there was something almost like being blackballed or him just maybe not want a part of it, something, because other teams didn't really, reach out that we're aware of for his services and interview and whatnot. The only thing that I was like, he was my top choice or whatever. Obviously I don't really think he was available in any kind of way.
Apparently not. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I can't be too mad at that 33rd team or whatever for that, but was disappointed with McCarthy not getting the interview. That's something that I addressed last time. For me, it almost feels like a weird thing with them, maybe an old school at the dance, like, oh, that's the bad girl or whatever. Go up to her, she turned me down. You see her a year later, you're feeling really good, and both people are awkward. I think both people, really didn't want to make the first move. And it was almost like Chris Johnson, man. Like these dudes, man, they really don't know no damn football, man. Like he really bypassed McCarthy for Gase, which is like crazy. And then to make it even worse, then he hired Douglas, and then we had this whole damn disaster. Yeah. It's like if anything with these Johnson guys, just leave it up to the 33rd team and figure it out. I think I might have missed it. Lance Newmark, is he one of the finalists?
He is, yes. So now that would be an interesting plot. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but it would be a very interesting plot twist to have Lance Newmark in the building. And obviously they went, you know what? Let's just look one more time through the guys. And then they plucked two more from them, Trey Brown and Darren Muggy. So all three are finalists. All three are in the running, so to speak. The latter two will be doing their second interviews with the Jets today, and then they're picking it. So, yeah, Newmark technically is still one of the candidates. It'd be interesting if they went outside to get two more guys in. They go through all of them and said, nah, we want Lance Newmark. Maybe that'll happen. I don't know.
Yeah, I do kind of like it because of what he was able to do with Washington. Obviously, he's an assistant. He's limited to what he can do, but actually being there for that whole operation, seeing how it shifted this previous year, and with the 33rd team, being involved with all that. So I feel like the transition with the Jets, it should be kind of similar, and he could help assist in that kind of way. It's just being new, like now you're the guy and all that, and then you got to deal with the Johnsons and the media and everything like that, where, you could be kind of manipulated in a certain kind of way when the noise gets really loud and you're kind of pinned against a corner and whatnot, and you kind of get a little undecisive with what you have to do and all that. So for that, like, I'm not the biggest fan, but with what's left, like I want him. I am disappointed that we didn't get that dude from the Bills a second shot, the Brian
I know,
Gain
Brian
dude.
Gain. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Dang.
All right, so you was with that too, man.
100%. Yeah.
I didn't hear that second interview, and I immediately got pissed off, man. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because they're still like they're one game away from the Super Bowl, but you can
Maybe,
still
and you
give them a
have to wait,
second
I guess.
interview.
You
That's
could.
that's
And
that's
technically, you can hire him. That you just need written permission from the team. That's what they say. Like, for instance, obviously, Borgonzi, right? He was the Chiefs' assistant GM. The Chiefs are still alive, and he's already been
that's right.
introduced as a Titans
That's right.
GM. So that's still possible. Yes.
So that's my like disappointment with not hearing about him. He was my front runner. But all in all, man, to be honest, like with Glenn, I do feel good. All right. I don't have, as some would say, my pom poms out. I don't have that for it, but I do feel good. The only thing that I could really see as a positive kind of spin is that knowing that he was a secondary dude and that he could really like get into Sauce's ear and make him back to what he was. Obviously, he had a really bad season, man. It felt like all the fundamentals, the basic fundamentals of just press coverage, uh, with turning your head to the ball, man. Simple stuff, 101 stuff is tackling, wrapping the legs, man, driving your body, bringing the player to the ground. These simple
Fundamentals.
my man, like he just lost it this year. But I'm willing to give a pass, man, because he wasn't the only one that really didn't look all that like great, man. Everybody took a step back. I was happy to see Reed at the last game, run down and make that touchdown saving tackle. And that just showed that he didn't let it just go with his comments a week or two prior, just talking about, I can't wait for free agency kind of deal or whatever. Like you showed that with that play, like he showed me that he was still into it. And I feel like with him saying something yesterday, something social media or whatever, like approving this Glenn trade, that this might be an opportunity to kind of retain him. If we could retain him and still keep Sauce, man, and then bring their levels up, man, that's all we need. Now, I didn't know this and heard it just now with White Cotton, the defensive line coach. We what the freak, man, is like we couldn't get rid of everybody. The defensive line last year was pathetic, awful. We could give the excuses on Joe D, but at the end of the day, like if you're in charge of the defensive line and you got this fool and Michael Clemens being disastrous, you see Hassan Reddick doing absolutely nothing. Your line changes were just pathetic, man. You're getting run on all over the field. You deserve to stay with the team? Hell no,
Well,
man.
he's not official to stay with the team yet. There's just rumors that
Yo, come
there's
on,
someone
man.
the Jets are hoping to bring in. Now, here's the only thing I don't know, and everything you say is right. The Michael Clemens foolishness, the run defense, the Hassan Reddick thing. I don't know how much Aaron Whitecotton had in playing time. Was he just, hey, man, we've shopped for the ingredients. You just cook with them, and you have no decision making on playing time. That I don't know. So I can't speak to that. Or would he have wanted to say, "Hey, Clemens, get your ass off the field," or Reddick, get your ass off the field? Did he have that sort of power? I'm not sure, but yeah, obviously the defensive line was the disaster. That's the root of the problems that not enough people talk about of why this season was a disaster. And there was a lot of reasons, but one of them is the defensive line destruction, falling apart. That was supposed to be the backbone of the team. So that for me is one that not enough people talk about. Joe Douglas destruction of it, and then the execution of that destruction. Yeah, terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Dude, I get the playing time thing, but we're talking about basic techniques, man.
That's true.
Techniques. Staying outside, you're a defensive end, outside containment, BG. Dude, it don't matter about no playing time. When you're on the field, your job description, a part of it is outside containment, and you're sucking inside and allowing Josh Allen to scramble for the first down. You're not doing your freaking job, man.
We should have known it because
I
in
don't
the
care about playing
preseason,
time.
in the preseason, we had a Jets Commanders game, and Michael Clemens had a read op on Jaden Daniels, and he totally blew containment. Jaden
Man, come
Daniels
on.
moonwalked into the end zone, and we should have went, oh, That's not I know that's a preseason, but oh boy. And apparently that was foreshadowing. That was a serious sign of things to come. So, yeah, the two guys that I've heard discussed from Zach Rosenblatt that are potential guys to come back, everyone else apparently is gone, is Aaron Whitecon, the defensive line coach, and Tony Oden, the DB coach.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
are the only two that I've heard for T.O. and Whitecon.
yeah. They all gotta go. All of
Yeah,
them. I
I'm
don't want
fine with
any
it.
of them.
Yeah.
White Cotton, and then with White Cotton, like he also, I really don't like him that much, man. To be honest, I know he didn't
Really?
do a
Oh,
horrible job the last couple years.
yeah.
It was that incident with Quinnen
Oh,
Williams
Quentin
on the
Williams,
sideline.
Bengals game. Yeah.
That was it, man. For somebody as nice as Quinnen Williams to just completely lose his stuff on him, dude, and
Yeah.
this is in front of everybody, I was like, hold, there's something going on. Obviously, they repaired some stuff or whatever, and there hasn't been no flare up since, but that left a little a bad taste in my mouth seeing that interaction and knowing that Quinnen Williams totally did not respect that guy. And I don't even know if he still does, to be honest, based off of just completely losing your stuff on your coach, man. So
And he's
he,
interviewing in other
he got to
places,
go.
so I don't
And
think it's
nobody
a lock
hired him,
that way.
BG. Nobody hired him, man.
Yeah, no one's hired him yet. Yeah, he just interviewed for
How
the
good is
Packers
he?
D line
Man,
job, so
come
we'll
on.
see it. And I think he's interviewing for a few others. So there's no guarantee that he's back. So, and plus, I'm sure Aaron Glenn wants his own people. So he has that I'm aware of, no connection to White Cotton, even no connection to To. So yeah, we'll see what happens there.
All right. So, hey, man, pleasure talking to you. Shout out to Australian Jet fan. That 50 burger, man, to start the show.
Holy
Jeez,
shit.
man, that it's freaking 7 degrees, man, outside. It's cold as hell. But seeing that 50 burger, man, that lit the fire to the show, man. Salutes everything you do, BG.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Chef, for joining us. And yeah, Austrian Jet fan, baby. Number 1, 50 pack of memberships. Unbelievable. That's pretty damn good, man. That's pretty damn good. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We've got a lot of people trying to get on the show. Again, we have 800 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe, baby. Keep spreading the gospel of all things Boy Green Daily. Let's go to Badshaw here on the show. What's up, Badshaw?
What up, Paul? How are you today?
Hey, I'm fired up, man. I can't believe it. We got our next 8C of the NYJ. It's a good day.
That's what I was thinking. I got to say, because I heard you talking about earlier, there's a lot of people that don't want Aaron Glenn and they're pissed that we hired him. Well, I just want to say, I had other people in mind, and I'm still pumped about this. I think this is still a great. I'm just saying, I was one of those that there were other people. I was a Gruden guy, but that being said, I'm pumped. Aaron Glenn is a great coach. I think. Why can I not think of the offensive coordinator for Detroit?
Ben Johnson. Yeah.
Ben Johnson. I think a lot of people. Ben Johnson kind of overshadowed him. So I think there was a lot less talk about Aaron Glenn, but man, the fact that he is a former Jet, he wants this organization to do good. I mean, that's a plus for me. At the end of the day, that's a plus for me. I was kind of worried we weren't going to get the deal done because we've been sitting around, waiting for a while, and I was like, man, we're going to look dumb as crap if we let him go to New Orleans, But
because could you imagine what the Jets are doing with this backpedaling? He goes down to New Orleans, and Orleans like, fuck yeah, you're hired. He's like, sweet. And then the Jets are like, oh, geez, what are we doing at head coach? It would just be an epic disaster. And I'll tell you this, Badshaw, right? I say it for my big high horse. Oh, you non-believers, get on the train or hop off. To be honest, hey, if we're looking both ways, Danny said at the beginning of the show, hold me accountable, which, hey, is important. Is my top 3 coaches when this whole puppy started. I wanted Todd Monken, the Ravens guy that did not interview him. I wanted Vrabel. He goes to the Patriots, so he's unavailable. And I wanted Ben Johnson. I was interested in Ben Johnson. He wasn't interested in us. He made that very clear because that would have been a lot of fun. So Aaron Glenn was not in my top 3, but as the process evolved and more information's coming, who they're talking to, who they're not talking to, you've mentioned Chucky. Someone else mentioned Chucky earlier. I think that was just Chef Kevin Gilbert as a Chucky he wanted. Jets didn't even talk to him, and apparently Rich Samini said they eliminated him immediately at the beginning of the search, which is interesting. They didn't talk talk to Mike McCarthy. So, yeah, it took me a little bit of time to get on the Aaron Glenn train. But when I got on it and I rode around in it, I drank some drinks in it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is nice. And boom, I was sold. So it took a little bit of time, but I hopped on. Yeah.
And, I think you talked about this yesterday, but the fact that Ben Johnson wasn't interested in us, I mean,
yeah.
I know our quarterback situation might be rocky, but damn, Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall, the Chicago doesn't have, I don't know, maybe I'm just biased. I know they don't have a wide receiver like we do, but anyway, they've got a good explosive receiver, but still. But also, I had a question. So,
sure,
me being in the South, there's a lot of Cowboys fans, and
I
saw the other day where Brian Schottenheimer is he actually going for the head coach job or?
100%. So here's the thing. He interviewed once. And again, when everyone interviews once, you can obviously they're on the list, right? Like my guy, Todd Monkey, he didn't even make it the initial list. So obviously there's zero chance to be hired if you're not on the initial list. So him being on the initial list was like, oh, all right. That's sort of interesting. And he met with the team for 4 hours. This is what the insiders are saying. So Brian Schottenheimer did the first interview, met with them for 4 hours, and then immediately the next day did a second interview. So he is a finalist for the Dallas Cowboys head coaching job. That is Brian Schottenheimer, son of Marty Schottenheimer. I couldn't believe my biscuits. I was like, what the fuck? Brian Schottenheimer? That one came out of left field. So, yeah, the fact that they're talking to Robert Saleh, they're talking to Brian Schottenheimer, going through our Jets trash. Okay, I guess. And Jets host the Cowboys next year, so that'll be a doozy. I hope they hire one of those two guys. That would be hilarious. But, yes, that is true. Apparently, both of them are very legitimate candidates for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I will say the last time I remember our offense, like being excited to see my offense on the field was probably when he was running the show. I know Fitzpatrick. Yeah, I know Fitzpatrick had his moments for a little bit.
Right, Chan Gailey. Yep.
But anyway, I just wanted to call and say, those who maybe the coach that you were pulling for didn't get it. This is still a great deal we got. So let's be pumped. Let's stay positive. I'm ready. Next year, I'm hoping y'all are going to get a game together that we can all go to. I've already got plans. I'm just waiting to hear the date. So you just let me know, man.
Can't wait, Badshaw. Thanks for the call, brother. And yes, for all the new members or old members alike to the Boy Green Coffee Club, we're trying to figure out the right game. Again, the NFL schedule does not come out till May. We're trying to be ahead of it to see kind of what we want. It's going to depend on dates too, but we're going to try to all do a Jets game together. So all the Boy Green Coffee Club members, we're going to pick a game. We're going to do an awesome pregame tailgate. We're going to try to put all the pieces together, all the bells and whistles. And as soon as we know that, we'll let you guys know. We'll try to do a big ticket deal so you guys get a good price and great seats, and then part of the tailgate special and all that jazz. We'll keep you guys posted on that. We're looking at Jets Cowboys now. The other wrench, so we obviously don't know when any of the games are. That we don't know that till May. And then the other wrench is that one of the Jets home games is going to London. So one of the home games will be wiped off the board. It will not be an option for us because unfortunately, I've got a passport to go to London, I guess, but I don't think I got the scratch to be able to make that happen. So keep that in mind. By the way, Will, shout out to Will on Twitter. He just DM'd me this. According to Rich Samini, Trey Brown and Aaron Glenn are good friends. So just because they're friends doesn't mean they're going to be hired. But shout out to Will for that nugget, apparently from Ritz. So maybe he's got an inside track. Trey Brown does potentially of being the guy. So keep an eye out for that as I'm keeping an eye out for potential breaking news. All right, guys, like the video, hit subscribe, keep spreading the gospel. All things Boy Green Daily here. Let's go back to the phone lines. We haven't heard from this guy in a while. Let's go to Tim from Fishland here on the show. What's up, Timmy?
Morning, Paul. Long time.
Good to hear from you. Yeah, too
long.
So
we got a new coach, huh?
It sounds like it.
He wasn't on the top of my list, but the first time hires, you never know. It's a flip of a coin,
Of course.
Obviously, his offensive coach or offensive coordinator is the biggest, position he needs to fill. But I think the most important second position on that staff he needs to fill is the offensive line coach and the run game coordinator. What I'm hearing that he wants to bring back Rodgers because he's open to the idea of bringing back Rodgers, which I am too. But in order to have a 41, 40, 42-year-old quarterback, you have to have a power running game. Okay? The Jets could not run the ball to save their life this year.
Yeah.
Okay? You have to have a top 5 running game. Look at all the older quarterbacks in their twilight years when they won a Super Bowl, Brady with the Bucks, Peyton Manning, Elway. They all had a strong running game and a very, very strong defense to go with it. Okay. You cannot ask Rodgers to drop back and throw 40 plus times a game. Cannot do it. Cannot do it. Because then you're asking the defense, you're going to start sending blitzes. What should I say? Slows down the rush, running the ball. Okay. You can't get to the quarterback if you can't stop the run. So that is the number of things that need to the physicality of the team needs to completely change. They're too soft. All right. On defense and on offense. They're okay at pass blocking, and sometimes that needs to change too, especially when teams are giving you an all-out look like the Vikings did, or Denver did, where they were clocking Rodgers' fucking bell. Okay, you cannot have that. You have to have plans for that. Okay, you have to have plans for that. So we'll see what happens going on, but I just don't know where you're going to find 20 or 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions on the open market. Plus, you cut Rodgers, you have to pay a whole bunch of money. You could talk to him and maybe get him to take a pay cut. Okay, and that's your bridge. So, I just don't understand these people. Oh, let Rodgers go. Let Rodgers go. You are not going to find that type of production anywhere in the league. I'm sorry. Okay?
Yeah, I think you're right.
All right. You have to surround him with the team, though. He can't do it all himself. The problem was the Jets asked him to do it all himself this year. Okay. And you saw how that went. All right. This was the most irritating season I've ever seen in my life. We actually had a quarterback, but we didn't have the defense or the running games that we used to have in the past.
So frustrating.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
we finally get it, and then we blow it.
And you can look at Rodgers' history or season this past year. He might have lost this 1 or 2, maybe 3 games at most.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. But for throwing a pick or something like that, I think the Seattle game, which the defense the offense didn't, do anything in the second half. And then you got the Viking game where he threw the pick 6. But it's fundamental football, and football starts in the trenches. You have to be the more physical team. Okay. And as far as the defensive backs go for the Jets, they need to learn how to track the freaking ball. They need to learn how to play the ball and stop grabbing people. All right. I'm hoping because he was a corner, he can teach them that. Okay. All they needed to do is really look at game tape from Revis back in the day. Revis was the technician at that. But, there was just so many problems with this Jets team, and it wasn't Rodgers this past year. So I'm sorry. It just wasn't. I know a lot of Rodgers haters out there, but it wasn't him. All right. The problem was that we could not run the ball on offense, and we couldn't stop a nosebleed on defense. People were throwing moon balls on us. People were running roughshod on us right down our throats. That's not winning football. I'm sorry.
Again, I'm curious to see. We should hear again if we're going to get that GM today. We're going to have the presser either if they really speed it up. I guess we could have the presser tomorrow on Friday. More likely on Monday of next week, and that's going to be the Aaron Rodgers question. We should get an answer.
My thing is though, and just like Joe Beningo says, we let go of Rodgers. He's going to go somewhere else, and sure enough, we're going to see him in the playoffs. I freaking put $1,000 down right now on it.
Yeah, it could.
You see what I mean?
100%.
I'll put $1,000 down on that. If we let him go, he goes to another team. He's going to the playoffs. He's going to lead another team to the playoffs. I can guarantee you it.
We already got Vikinged once, like last time with Brett Favre, and he goes on and has the greatest season of his career.
I'm thinking
really
Pittsburgh.
Don't want that to happen.
I'm thinking Pittsburgh.
Oh wow.
I'm thinking Tomlin wouldn't mind grabbing him for a year.
He shouldn't mind, But we'll see. We'll see if he can handle the extra hoopla sometimes, Tim, because we've seen it. Antonio Brown, Mike Wallace, George Pickens. He's had all kinds of basket cases that have been there as well. All right, we've got a lot of people waiting. and I've got limited time. So I'm going to bring everybody on the show, and I'll allow you all to say your piece before I have to run to the radio station. We got a new intern on my radio show today, so I got to show him the ropes. Got to spend some extra time with him. So let's introduce everybody here on the show all at the same time. We got Ricky New York Live. We have a cup of Philly noodles and NYJKO in bed. All right, guys, what is all on your minds?
Oh, I want to say good morning first off, and good morning, guys.
Morning.
I love the Aaron Glenn pickup. I knew it was happening, and I want to say first off, like I said before, everybody, his defense gave up 31 points. Bullshit. Let's start right there. That's BS. He didn't have 11 starters on defense. Come on now. Everybody knew if Detroit would have had their full lineup, they would have went to NFC Championship, hands down. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Secondly, I like New Mark's supposed to be our new GM. I like that too because you see
Maybe just a real quick nugget, NYJKO. You may have missed it, but this morning there's 3 new finalists now. Lance Newmark is one of them. Trey Brown of the Bengals is another, and then Darren Buggy of the Broncos. So they're going to pick one of those 3 today.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Newmark.
It might be. Yeah.
I believe it'll be Newmark. And it's been. I read something about Aaron Glenn saying he wants Aaron Rodgers to stay. So.
I don't know if that's official yet. A few people have brought that up. I haven't seen that anywhere, but we'll know. Again, we're going to know in very short order here.
Yeah, but I love the pickup, man. Former Jet, he was scout for the Jets, and this is his dream job, so he finally got it. I think that he's going to turn around the whole defense. He's going to hold guys accountable. It's going to be a whole different vibe around here. I think he's going to get on guys like the Sauce Gardners. Tackling and Quincy Williams, Jamie and Sherwood. He's going to get everybody. Everybody's going to fall in line. Everybody's going to like the guy. He's players coach. The guys in Detroit loved him, so he had their defense pulling. They were a very good team. So,
hey, by the way, a quick shout out here.
Oh yeah, so
here we go. Just got the notification on the watch. Bubble Badshaw with a 5-pack of Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. Thanks, Badshaw. Thanks for sending that on in. Again, that's also available for PayPal and Venmo at BoyGreen25. Appreciate you, Badshaw. Thanks, brother, for spreading the love. Appreciate it.
Let's not. I don't want to see Rodgers leave. He want to turn things around. I want to see him and Aaron Glenn turn things around together. Because I believe, honestly, it showed when Joe Flacco left, he led the Browns to playoffs. So, it's time after time. Even when Brett Favre was here, he left. He went to have a great year with the Vikings. Sidney Rice, that little team over there. Let's keep our guys. Let's run it back again. Let's get our old line together in the trenches on both sides of the ball, and let that defense be the defense that we know that it can be, that has the potential to be. I'm all for. So. Yeah, I'm all for DJ Reed leaving. Hey, that save us more money. Bye. Have a good day. Kick rocks.
Oh damn. Okay.
It's sad to say. Listen, he was the weak link, man, at that corner. He was. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's call a spade. He's a weak link at corner.
Half week.
He's too little. He's too little, bro.
He's too little. What about Aaron Glenn? He was a short corner.
Bro, listen. Listen. They threw at him and picked on him more than anything. They did.
He's not too little.
He's too little. He's 5'9".
No. All right, we got to stop this. All right, listen. I'm gonna give you a New York minute. This is we're gonna take too long here. This guy's got to go. Listen, BG, I love you.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
When we're done with all this,
we'll go around the room here. You're up next. Go ahead, Philly.
Before you leave, please give me the karate breaking the boards. We got Aaron Glenn. Let's celebrate.
I don't have that video, so Jakey's going to have to send that to me. I just have them all sort of individual. Yeah, so when Jake throws that up every time, that's him doing it, which is hilarious. I find it quite fun. But, yeah, I'm going to have him send me that. But, yeah.
But, yes, Ricky, you got your guy. We all got our guy. Let's think positively. Real quick. I'm still in the mindset of Aaron for an Aaron. I don't care if Rodgers leaves. Listen, it's all about, does the GM want to swallow his pride, bring him back, take less money? But either way, you're going to kick something down the books still. Like, I don't care what anybody thinks. You might kick something down the books. Yeah, and then Devontae's got to get paid. So you're going to tell him to take a pay cut and kick something down the books. How long are you going to continue kicking shit down the books? Give me the guy who just took the Denver Broncos with a rookie, JFM,
Okay, they stole our JFM, right? We let them go
They did.
and took that team to the playoffs, whether they got spanked or not. He took that with a 4-year quarterback starter as their starting QB out of college. Now, Sean Payton is Sean Payton, and I get it. But if you can get the right OC, you can go ahead and draft yourself a second string quarterback that's had 4 years experience in college. Put him in there behind Tyrod Taylor. If something goes awry, put him in, and it is what it is. Because if I'd rather have a failed experiment with a rookie quarterback in Tyrod than a failed experiment with Aaron Rodgers again at a tag that keeps continuing to smack me in the face throughout the years here. Nobody wants to deal with that. So the dude out of Denver, the GM, I would probably select only because I know what he can do with little in 1 year.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's what I
All
mean.
right. Appreciate it, Cup of Philly Noodles. All right, and Ricky, you'll wrap us up here going around the room with limited time here. But Darren Muggy vote of confidence there. Appreciate it. What's on your mind, Ricky? And congratulations on you getting your guy AG, baby.
Right on. And I just have to say, the people that say, we only like him because he was a Jet are people that don't know anything about Aaron Glenn except for he was a Jet. I guarantee you, if you asked every one of those people how much research they did, how long did they spend looking at the computer and looking at his whole history, the answer is probably none. Like you said, you weren't on the train at first, but you know what? You've been watching these clips. You've been reading about it.
Hell yeah.
And the fact that he went from scout to position coach, like he worked his way up every single rung of the ladder. And he wanted to learn. He wanted to know the intricacies and the nuances of every single one of those steps. So when this day came, he would know how to perform exceptionally at each of those things. The fact that he had the patience and the work ethic to take that career path, it just says, speaks to the character that this guy has. I think we got the right guy for the job. Anybody that knows Aaron Glenn knows his number one order of business is to stop the run, and he'll reverse engineer that, and it'll be run the ball on offense. He's going to bring these defensive guys that we got to a whole new level. The thing that he was saying about White Cotton earlier, dude, we're not talking about, we all knew Clemens sucked before the year started. Like, this isn't, make lemonade out of lemons. Give you a pile of crap. What are you going to make with that? I mean, but yeah, listen, Aaron Glenn is absolutely the right guy for the job. And, people are going to kill me for saying this.
All right.
But I think we still have to, temper our expectations some. I think we go back year one to winning 7 games like we did the year prior. I don't think it's going to be a playoff run or anything. And I don't think that, our long-term quarterback question will get answered. And, I told you my plans, Will Johnson, Nick Emenwari, get Aaron Glenn his secondary. And, I think that's probably the route they'll go. People are going to hate me for that. He's a defensive guy, and now you want to draft all defensive players, and I'm sure there's people say, we need to get weapons. We need to, let's get the big wide receiver kid. We got to draft, Tater Tot McMuffin, whatever the hell his name is.
Tater Tot McMuffin. Oh my God.
Something like that. Funny. The kid from Arizona, right?
Yeah, Ted McMillan.
At any rate, listen, Aaron Glenn is going to have the answers. I think we got the right guy for the job, and I'll be happy to prove all the naysayers wrong. That's all I have to say.
I love it, Ricky. Thanks for the call. Tater Tot McMuffin. Holy shit, that was funny. Yeah, Ted McMillan from Arizona. Oh God, that's going to be a funny one for the rest of time. Now that is, whoo! I was tearing up a little. That is hilarious. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us on a fun show. Aaron Glenn's our guy, and according to the breaking news right before the show, we will know who the next general manager is of the New York Jets by the end of business day today. Those are the three that will be evaluated. Again, Trey Brown of the Bengals, Darren Muggy of the Denver Broncos, and Lance Newmark, who already interviewed the assistant GM of the Washington Commanders. We'll see who of those three is it. And of course, we'll all hope for the best and hope it's great. Again, I got to head to the radio station early, help out a young intern, learn the business. But we will be back. What's today? Thursday? Oh, shoot. We got a Boy Green Meets Woody today at 3 o'clock. I'm looking forward to that. We'll have more Aaron Glenn action as well. And again, praise, blessed be he, our number one Austrian Jet fan, for a 50-pack of Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. He is the GOAT. So if anyone received a membership today, money it was from number one Austrian Jet fan. So thank your local number one Austrian Jet fan, baby, for all the love. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Like the video, hit subscribe, and we will be back on in just a couple of hours for Boy Green Meets Woody. We'll see you guys then. God bless, take care, and let's go.